Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. So today we've got heat number 3 of the fountain pen tournament. Heat number 3 with these pens. There we go. All 3 of them really nice. Join me now down on the table. We'll take a quick look at the pens. We'll do a size comparison, writing sample. Then I'll give you my thoughts on these before handing over to you to vote for the pen that will progress into the semi-finals. Welcome down to the table. So here we've got our pens for heat number 3 of the fountain pen tournament. We've got the PenBBS 494. This is in transparent. We've got the HongDian N8 in flying feathers. And we've got the Natami Inception in sky blue. 3 very different looking pens, aren't they? We've got a vacuum filling mechanism on the PenBBS. The other 2, they're converters. Let's take a walk through the bodies. With our body walkthrough, we're not going to focus in detail on each pen. We're going to look more at the similarities and differences. If you want a more detailed view of these, there are other videos on my channel. So with the PenBBS, nice transparent colour as we can see. As I've already said, this is a vacuum filler. You can see the plunger down here. I've got this slightly open just in case I need it for airflow. But one thing you can notice in this, it's leaking ink into there. So that's something to be aware of. It's got a potential for ink leaks. With the flying feathers, I love the colouring of this. We've got these silver feathers here engraved on the cap. Slightly translucent material there in the body. And the Natami Inception, nice colour. It's faceted, so unlike the others which are more round bodies, here we've got more of a faceted body. So it just adds a little bit of a tactileness to it. Again, very difficult to see, but we've got a little bit of ink leakage coming into there, into the cap. So we'll look at the sizes in a minute, but looking at these, it's very quick to see that the PenBBS is the longer, then the HongDian N8, just a little bit shorter and a little bit longer than that Natami. Let's take the caps off. So we go half, 1. So 1 turn there on the PenBBS, that's excellent. With the N8, half, 1, about 1.5. Again, quite good, quite nice, 1.5 turns. With the Natami, half, 1, 1.5, 2, about 2.25. Just straightening these up a bit. So we've got that vacuum filler, as I've already said. Then we've got a cartridge converter in these. So I'll just quickly take them off. So metal fittings there. And on the Natami, metal fittings again. Both of these pens, they came with the converters. All 3 pens, I believe, are Chinese made. The Natami one, I've seen different people saying different things. Some people say it's Chinese. Some people actually say it's Japanese. I believe it's a Chinese pen aimed more for a Japanese market. Let's take a close-up of the nibs. So here we've got the PenBBS. Got some nice decoration on there. They're all steel nibs. We've got a nice little border. Underneath the breather hole, we've got PenBBS, and then we've got some Chinese characters. With the HongDian, again, let me just try moving this so you can see in different lights. Very decorative on this nib. I do like that little bit of a picture around the breather hole, and the shape of that breather hole is also slightly different. Then below that, we've got since 1997, HongDian, and then it looks like a logo, and 35. With the Inception, again, we've got some nice scroll work on here. You can see that at the sides. Quite nice, quite unusual. Then going down the middle, we've got a little bit more engraving. And right at the bottom, we've got the words, The Flight of Time. Let's swap over and we'll do a quick size comparison. I brought in my 2 standard size comparisons. We've got the Pilot Metropolitan and the Lamy Safari. To me, as I've already said, the PenBBS a little bit longer. To me, the HongDian I did think was in the middle, but now it's looking like it's the shorter of the three. Then we got that Natami. And with the exception of the PenBBS, all three pens are smaller than the Safari. And the N8 alone, that's smaller there than we can see with the Metropolitan. Let's just pop the caps off. I've tried to line all the pens up by the bottom of the nib. I've tried to line these up by the bottoms of the nib. The Natami, definitely the shortest. The PenBBS now is shorter than what we're seeing there with the Safari. And the HongDian, yep, that's in the middle. What are these pens like in the hand? So with the PenBBS, it's a bit light, it's a bit thin. My fingers feel like they're pushing up against each other. But later on when I tell you the price, you'll understand why. I do like the fact it's transparent so I can actually see that ink flowing around in there. Just pop that over to that side. I'm not going to post any of these because two of them with that leak, I don't want to end up with ink all over my hands. With a HongDian N8, lovely size, lovely width there. It does feel a little bit slippy here on the section, but not enough that it causes any problems when I'm writing. It just fits really well in the hand. It's a very nice, comfortable pen. And with the Natami, it's got a bit more weight to it than what I was seeing, to be honest, in a way with both the others. We'll see better in a second when we do our weights. It feels a little bit wider than I was getting with that PenBBS and a bit narrower than the N8. Lengthwise, again, not too bad. It's usable unposted. Let's get this out of the way and we'll fetch in the rule of measuring. Here we've got the rule of measuring. Let's start with the PenBBS. So the full pen, that comes in at 14.1 centimetres. Unposted, here we're looking about 12.6 centimetres. I'm going to just pop like that. It does post and it comes in at 15.7 centimetres. So it'll be about like that. So I'm not going to post it. I don't want all that ink all over my hands. The width of the body, measured about here, that comes in at 1.15 centimetres. The cap, 1.32. The section goes from 0.91 up to 0.99. So that's where you can see I was saying about it being a fairly thin feeling section. With a HongDian, the full pen, 13.7 centimetres. Unposted, that comes in at 12.3. I will post this one because there's no ink in there. And posted is 16.3. The width of the body, I measured it about here, that's 1.35. 1.49 there for the cap. And then the section goes from 1.11 up to 1.18. Very noticeable difference. Finally, the Natami. Full pen, 14.1. So actually the same length as the PenBBS. Unposted, here we come in at 12.1, so the shortest of the three, which we saw, and then posted, that comes in at 16.7. Let's see if I can try and get that there. 16.7. I know I should do it, but I just don't want ink all over my hands. The width of the body, here we go with 1.33. The width of the cap, 1.45. And the section, that goes from 1.0 up to 1.06. Let's move this out of the way and fetch in the scales of weighing. Here we've got the scales of weighing. We'll start with a PenBBS. 25 grams for the full pen. Remember, there's quite a bit of ink in here. Oops. Just pop this there to try. There we go. 17.6 grams there for the body. And 7.3 grams there for the cap. The HongDian, 30 grams, 30.4 grams. Body alone, 17.6 grams. The cap, 12.8 grams. And with the Natami, full pen, 25.7 grams. 13 grams in the body. And 12.7 there in the cap. Let's get this out of the way and we'll fetch in the notepad of testing. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. Here we've got the notepad of testing. This is made by Apica. It's the CD11 and this is a lined version. And here we've got heat number 3. So I'm just going to turn this page ever so slightly. Just makes it a bit easier for me to write. And we'll start with the PenBBS. So we've got a PenBBS. This has got a fine nib. Price wise, you're looking approximately $8 Aussie. The ink, it's by Diamine. And it's Spruce. This is a scented ink, also a sheening ink. Let's do our Wesky Swirl grid. So up and down. Very fine nib on this. Oh, look at that. I must have just caught something. Yeah, I don't know if you can see. I've caught something there at the end of the nib. Lovely shot of my arm there. Let me just wipe that off. There we go. We want to get this a lot better. That's it. So that was going up and down, side to side. Don't seem to have made any difference. Down and across. Diagonals. Drying times. There's immediate. 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Still got a tiny smudge, but it's not really worth doing a 1-minute test. So there we've got that. We'll come back and write a sentence with it in a minute. Let's just move the page up ever so slightly. We'll move on to the HongDian N8. So here we go. HongDian N8. And in here we've got a medium nib. Now I'm trying to agitate this a little bit because there's a chameleon ink in here. Price for this pen, approximately $34 Aussie. The ink by Diamine and it's Olive Swirl. I love the colour of this ink. What I do find with it though is the chameleon to me doesn't show up very much. So here's up and down, side to side, down, diagonal. Drying times, so here's immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Another one there, tiny smudge, but not enough to do a 1-minute test. Finally, with the Natami. So we've got a Natami Inception. Fine nib. Price wise, approximately $32 Aussie. The ink by Colorverse. It's Brinacles. Let's do our grid. Side to side. Up and down. And then diagonal. Drying times. There's immediate. Get a clean finger. 30 seconds. That one there, that's dry at 30 seconds. So there, I do like the look of this Natami Inception. I love this colour. I'm going to move the page again And what I'm going to do is write a sentence with each of the pens. Now you may have already heard I do now have a mic always on down at the paper, but I'll keep quiet whilst I'm writing these so you can hear the pens writing. We'll start with the PenBBS. Nice audible feedback there coming through so I can really hear that. Hopefully the mic is capturing that. There's a bit of stiffness to the nib, but there's also a little bit of, I want to call it drag so I can actually feel it. It's like a tactileness. I like that tactileness. But if you don't like tactile pens, just be aware you may need to do a bit of smoothing. The N8. To me, that's a slightly higher tone to the writing. It's still there, it's still nice, still enjoyable. And the nib feels a tiny bit softer, but we've still got some really nice audibleness coming through. Finally, with the Natami. Again, nice scratchy sound to that, so it sounds really nice. You know you're writing with it when you hear that. The nib, not sure what I think about the nib on this. It's a fairly stiff nib. Doesn't give me too much in the way of feedback. Let's swap over and we'll take a final look at these pens. So here we've got today's pens. We've got the PenBBS 494 with Diamine Spruce. We've got the HongDian N8 with Diamine Olive Swirl. And the Natami Inception with Colorverse Brinacles. Three fairly inexpensive pens. I mean, if you call $34 inexpensive, and that's a very relative term depending on what your circumstances are. But there's three pens. They all look fairly nice. I mean, for $8, it's not as nice looking as the other two, but you get what you pay for. $8. I don't like the fact they're leaking to the cap though. And although not as much, we're seeing that also on the Natami. But with this PenBBS, that's an awful lot. They're enjoyable pens to write with. The PenBBS 494 does feel a bit thin and light. The Natami a little bit wider, but the HongDian for my larger hands is really good. I really like it. I quite like the inks. I think the inks go well. I mean, beauty with that N8 being white. You can have any ink you want with it. Same with the transparent nature there of that PenBBS 494. And I do like this match between Brinacles and the Inception. That might be one of my perfect pairings. That might be the ink I'll only use in this pen until the ink is gone. So that's my thoughts for these three pens. Head on over to the YouTube community page. There you'll find a poll where you can vote for the pen that you'd like to see win this heat and go forward into the semi-final. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Head on over now to my YouTube community page. There you'll find a poll to vote for the winning pen of this heat. So here's the three pens once again. Got a week to vote and I'll announce the winning pen on my YouTube live on Sunday of next week. Please drop any comments you may have down below. Let's kickstart a conversation. Please hit that thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.